Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason, and here I talk about all things story. And the story I'm talking about today is the novel Knockemstiff by Mr. Donald Ray Pollock, an absolutely fantastic book that we just finished. And I say we because if you didn't know, we have a read-along book club on this channel, and Knockemstiff was one of the choices. We read it over the course of 7 weeks, so this will be a very spoiler-free review. But if you are interested in digging deeper into this novel and would like to read along with me in the past and comment on the Discord even. We still have a live Discord channel dedicated to this book if you'd like to join in there. Check out the link I'm going to put up in the corner and you can join the Discord for free down in the link below. And I don't think I can talk about this book without talking about the man himself, the writer, Mr. Donald Ray Pollock, because this is a book written by a man who has lived a full life. In fact, he has lived in the region of Ohio, the southernmost region, near and around Knockemstiff. Yeah, it's a real place, actually, also known as Shady Glen, apparently. But he worked at the paper mill until he was over 50, and he finally retired, and he discovered writing late in life. And this book is just bleeding with life experience. Now, he assured us, well, he assured his readers in the afterword that the people of Knockemstiff were very upstanding and would always lend a helping hand for someone in need, because that is the opposite of the kind of characters we find in this collection. And I will briefly talk about that in the review without getting into spoilers, as I said. So what is the hook? What is Knockemstiff about? Well, it is an anthology book, meaning a collection of short stories that are related. They're somewhat intertwined, but it's not a situation like the film Crash where you're kind of getting different perspectives over a shared narrative. Certain characters will pop up in other stories, and background characters will become the protagonists of their own tales, but there's no real driving narrative here, right? It's essentially glimpses into the lives of these people who live in this very small community. And in fact, Donald Ray Pollock's writing has been coined hillbilly Gothic or Southern Ohio Gothic because it is very crude, it is very gritty, it is very real. And sometimes it can feel almost like it's full of caricatures and not characters. But I think that's if you're only reading on the surface. If you read a little bit deeply, you'll see so much nuance to his writing and so much nuance to his characters. But yeah, there's really no driving plot. This is just a camera dipping into these lives of these people, learning about their successes, learning about their tragedies, learning about their hopes and their fears, their desires, but mostly their tragedies. So if you're looking for an uplifting book, a hopeful book, this is not the one for you. But if you're looking for a book you can learn from, you can get a different perspective on things, you can laugh, you can cry, then this is the one you should check out. So let us move on to character, my favorite topic, as I always say. So this collection is full of a vast array of characters. Now, some may argue that they're very similar, right? They're depraved, they're worthless, they're criminals, they're jealous, they're violent, and all kinds of other adjectives. But again, that's if you're reading on the surface. I think if you read a little bit deeper, you'll see that there is a silver lining here. There's a silver lining to some of these characters. Some of these characters do have hopes and dreams. They want to leave this place, and unfortunately, very few of them get the chance. But what I appreciate most about the character work here is that it's very multidimensional. And a lot of that's done through the specificity of the writing, which I'll talk more in detail about in the writing section of this review. But everyone is so vivid, so distinct, and even though they do share common attributes, I still feel, again, that there are differences there to be found. And you will quickly find yourself either repulsed or attracted or attached to these characters. I can guarantee you that. And that's the point, really, right? Every character shouldn't be likable, right? I think that's a myopic way of thinking when you're creating a character. It's all about empathy. It's all about understanding their worldview. It's understanding where they're coming from. It's wondering, are they a product of their environment, or does just the blood run so deeply that they can't escape this place and who they are no matter what they do? So these characters, as I said, they will make you laugh. They will make you cry. They will make you cringe. But I guarantee you, if you give this story a chance, if you give these characters a chance, they will get under your skin in bad ways and good ways. But at the very least, I can imagine you will be empathizing with them because of the masterful skill Donald Ray Pollock possesses. We get into the heads of some very violent people, even people who are incestuous, people who rape and kill, people who don't give a shit about anybody but themselves. And this novel is anything but about the broad strokes of writing and character development. These are very small vignettes, normally encompassing a short period of time, some longer than others, some decades even. But even though they are small stories, there's just so much depth to be found. All right, well, let us talk about the writing itself, or as I like to call it, the cinematography of the novel. Masterfully done. It's kind of, I like to call it kind of a more approachable Cormac McCarthy, right? It's straightforward writing, but it's full of beautiful and horrific similes and metaphors with an amazing amount of specificity, but not in the bad way, not in a Stephen King way where you're reading page after page after page after meaningless stuff. you'll just have these moments, these punctuated moments in the stories that'll just hit you. They'll give you pause, they'll make you think, they'll paint the prettiest or the most vile picture you can imagine. And on that note, there's a great interview of Donal Ray Pollock that I stumbled upon where he's everyone asked him, why do you write such terrible and upsetting fiction? And he said, well, I tried to write happy stories once and it just didn't work out. And so I can definitely get behind that because there's so much more interest to the dark. Needless to say, I absolutely love the line by line work here. I was definitely in the scene with these characters every time. It's rich, it's powerful, it's extremely layered, extremely nuanced, and I can guarantee you will be lost within the pages of this book. And another thing to note, you can kind of see Donal Ray Pollock, this is his first novel actually, which is extremely impressive, but you can see him developing his chops and his style for The Devil All the Time, which is a Netflix film. It's actually the first book I read of his and was just completely amazed with it. It stands to be one of my favorite books I've read in many, many years. Whereas this one is a series of short stories, although related. That book, which I highly recommend you check out if you haven't already, is a novel, right, of more interconnected stories, but to a degree where they do affect the narrative. I'm going to have to give Knockemstiff by Donal Ray Pollock a 9 out of 10. Yes, I was kind of thinking about dropping it a little bit because someone on the Discord reminded me that it felt a little bit one note. You know who you are out there. And I can see where he's coming from, right? We have all these characters who almost follow the same trajectory in life, right? They either start off shitty and get shittier, or maybe start off good and get shitty. And so while there isn't a ton of variety in the types of characters you'll meet in here, again, if you read closely, you will find the nuance, you will find the variety. And honestly, it's rare that I find myself wanting to read a book all the way through, and it was really difficult to hold back because in the read along, I read about 3 short stories for every video once a week, and I found myself just wanting to keep going through this thing because I was having such a good time. I was laughing, I was pausing to think about some of the stuff he was saying, and some of the just most beautiful writing I've read in quite some time. But before I go, let me read you a couple of the first lines in this collection so you get an idea of the kind of writing to expect. My father showed me how to hurt a man one August night at the Torch Drive-In when I was 7 years old. I was coming down off the Mitchell Flats with 3 arrowheads in my pocket and a dead copperhead hung around my neck like an old woman's scarf when I caught a boy named Truman Mackey fucking his own little sister in Dynamite Hole. When people in town said inbred, what they really meant was lonely. I woke up thinking I'd pissed the bed again, but it was just a sticky spot from where Sandy and me fucked the night before. Alright, well I won't spoil any more for you. I hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks for hanging out with me. And don't forget, if you'd like a deeper dive into this series of short stories, this book Knockemstiff, please check out my read-along. Also, don't forget to join the Discord. It's free to join. And if you'd like to check out my own work, my own writing, you can check out my novels down in the description below, or you can check out my series Worth 1,000 Words, where I write a 1,000-word short story inspired by a piece of artwork every single week. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for hanging out with me. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.